One of the key influencers of grunge was the Riot Grrrl third wave feminist movement of Olympia, Washington. This important group of women helped provide a platform for artists like L7, The Breeders, and Babes in Toyland, among many more. The manipulations of mainstream media would play a role in splintering the Riot Grrrl movement by the late 90s, much the way grunge fell out of favor during the same period. In its emergence, we find a critical point of the rise in female presence in pop culture. Let's take a closer look at this aspect of grunge in today's episode at Hughbass.com. Of all the empowering moments in the world of grunge, its emergence in conjunction with the feminist movement known as Riot Grrrl, Grrrls spelled Grrrl, is one of the most fascinating. While modern punk and heavy metal grew in concurrence with hip-hop, all three genres defined a voice of the late 70s rebellion against economic and political power structures of the time. Each were born out of the socioeconomic ecology that they inhabited, and the same goes for rap, grunge, and the third wave feminism movements often associated with Riot Grrrl. In the Pacific Northwest, women sought to upend gender norms, call attention to important women's safety and health issues, and do it with a blast of distorted guitars, blaring lyrics, and raucous drum beats. They would expand to 26 countries worldwide, and they would bring forth a wide variety of powerful role models for young people in their era. The etymology of the term Riot Grrrl has its origins in a letter written between Toby Vale, Kathleen Hanna, Allison Wolfe, and Molly Newman, some of its founding members. As Marisa Meltzer writes in Riot Grrrl's Girl Power, the 90s Revolution in Music from 2010, Vale transfigured the word girl into Grrrl, giving it a ferocious growl. The intent being to find a way to define what it meant to be a girl and reinvent feminism for their own generation. The term was also designed to reclaim and reappropriate the derogatory and anti-feminism connotations behind the word. The fashion of early punk and metal gives some interesting clues to the beginnings of the female presence in grunge music. While Riot Grrrl is typically associated with punk rock, some of the important aspects of challenging gender roles in grunge come from the clothing choices of its performers. Punk had its fans sporting household items, discarded junk, odd assortments of scrap metal, and anything that could be repurposed for jewelry as its fashion statements. Young people looked to writing rebellious phrases in permanent marker on their stomachs and using oversized safety pins for earrings, but grunge music fashion took a decidedly different turn. The flannels and baggy clothing of the Washington state proletariat donned itself as an anti-statement to the over-sexualized tight skirts and skin-revealing wardrobes that female performers were often subjected to for acceptance on the stage. Women found a new way to present themselves musically, and the scene in Olympia was ground zero for empowerment of the women's voice in the 90s. As the Riot Grrrl movement matured and built a platform for women to have a place to communicate social issues affecting them, its most impactful result on the music industry was its foundations for women to expand their influence and being more than just groupies associated with hair metal and glam rock of the past decade. They were taking the power back. A festival organized by the Sub Pop record label and K Records creators helped bring the Riot Grrrl movement onto the scene on the brink of Nirvana's explosion into pop culture in 1991. The prominent poster read, as quoted by Gina Arnold in her book Route 666 on the Road to Nirvana, "As the corporate ogre expands its creeping influence on the minds of industrialized youth, the time has come for the international rockers of the world to convene in celebration of our grand independence." The first night of the performance was reserved for all female performers. Ryan Moore states in Cells Like Teen Spirit, "While claiming feminism identities for themselves, these women appropriated the label and image of girl in iconic fashion, replacing its vowels with the triple R roar." He goes on to speak of the pre-adolescent feelings exalted by a carefree time of friendship among girls before the worries of boys, and girls competing for their attention. The grunge movement of female empowerment would continue this message with their telltale muddy guitar distortions and more melodramatic tempos. The Riot Grrrl movement would splinter by the late 90s in conjunction with a decline in grunge popularity. much as a result of the split in idealisms and the media manipulations of its message. Advertising was a critical player in the dissolution of grunge on the whole, and Karen Ritchie, an executive vice president and director of media relations at McCann Erickson in 1992, would write, "Generation X doesn't dislike advertising. They dislike hype. They dislike overstatement, self-importance, hypocrisy, and the assumption that anyone would want to be disturbed at home by a salesperson on the telephone." The Riot Grrrl movement, much like grunge itself, would be disaffected by this facet of the media empire that packaged, repurposed, and distorted their identity until it was so unrecognizable that they were associated with the Spice Girls' 1996 mantra of "girl power," which was far from the original vision. While other legs of the Seattle area rock scene became the focus of mainstream media, Riot Grrrl remained by choice an underground genre. Its influence helped boost to prominence a whole host of popular female grunge acts like Babes in Toyland, The Breeders, The Gits, 7 Year Bitch, Hole, Lunachicks, Dickless, L7, PJ Harvey, Liz Phair, Verica Salts, and even No Doubt. There is a wide range of change that the grunge music of the 90s brought to stardom and music culture. The bigger role of female participation in the industry is one of its finest progressions. While grunge may have faded out of its height of popularity, many of its key tenets, such as its apathy for the oppression of minority voices, left lasting impacts on the equality and protest movements to come. The societal power structures would fight back and help destabilize its message with its most effective tool, money. We will explore the economic authenticity deconstruction of grunge in our next installment. I hope you've enjoyed this look at gender dynamics of grunge music. If you did, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more great content about music history and its impact on the modern world. Thanks for watching, and see you soon at Hughbass.com. Did you know I have a Patreon? If you haven't yet, please have a look. Contributions really go a long way and they help support music education. Thanks for watching, and see you soon at Hughbass.com.